Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and some of the gang's all here. Hey, Chris Paul, how are you?
Hello, Sybil Wilkes. Happy Juneteenth government holiday.
Happy
Day.
federal holiday to you too.
Yeah.
And young Coy, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing, Civil? How are you doing, Chris Paul?
Hey, Coy.
Doing okay.
I see Coy been at the hairdresser
I know you.
all weekend. That didn't like it took a while.
Chez moi.
Chez vous.
Yes.
This is was this your Juneteenth hairdo?
I guess so. It was time for me to take my hair down. It was, and it just so happened to fall along with the Juneteenth holiday. So I guess I timed it perfectly.
Well,
Okay.
shout out your hairdresser.
Me.
Oh, you did it yourself, really?
Yay,
Oh,
me.
Wow. Oh wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No? Okay. All right. Chris, maybe we send her to a little up further north and see what she can do. Work magic with you and Huggy.
She's trying to tell you she needs a raise.
Coy, that's one of your million jobs, isn't it?
It's gotta be now at this point.
Golly.
So
So,
women
Chris,
still do each other's hair? Like when I was growing up, my mom always had an aunt coming by to do her hair, or my mom going to. Or you guys do go to each other still?
I don't do that, but there
Not
may
often.
be, unless it's like your sister or something, then you all, your mama's made you. But I don't. And if people have that, if people still do that, I'd love to hear it. And what kind of event do you all make this? Is it a spa day? Is it just a weekly, every other week hair appointment? What is it when you all do each other's hair? Coy, tell me about the busy holiday. Were you busy working on one of your many jobs or all of them?
Actually, this weekend I made it a point to be off
Oh, wow.
this weekend. And then we had a 3-day weekend from one of my main jobs. So yeah, I made it a point to be off this weekend, to rest, to celebrate, and to just enjoy not working. And that's
And,
exactly what I did.
and can you afford to do that? I know you should do it mentally, but can you financially afford to take that time?
Not really.
Mm.
I think I made it so I could this time around, but
Mhm.
then I had unexpected expenses come up. Like
Yeah.
today, I had to get my car battery changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Hello, real life. Once again, knocking at that door. Chris Paul, how was Father's Day weekend?
Huggy Lowdown and I were in Charlotte. The show was sold out. It was great, but a lot of drama all weekend long.
Always.
Well, we
Okay,
went down on Friday. The show was Saturday. We went down Friday so we could be in town at noon to take part as guest speakers in a Juneteenth youth summit where we got to just encourage the young people in Charlotte to just remember that they are actually free. And in this country, you're free to pursue any dream that you have, regardless of your circumstances or whatever. So we gave them a good talk. But going down there, for all these white folks complaining about Juneteenth, they sure as hell did hit the road because we drove to Charlotte, since
Yeah.
we're worried about COVID now that we had COVID. So we're like, let's just rent a car and go down there. We went down there. It took a 6-hour drive, took 10 hours.
Wow.
10 hours
why?
because of the traffic, everybody leaving DC to take advantage of the weekend. And also, once we
Long
got to North
weekend,
Carolina, Huggy and I drove through a tornado.
Oh my
That-
God.
If you go to Huggy
Physically?
Lowdown, if you go to Huggy Lowdown's social media, he posted the video that he shot while I was driving. We're driving. I mean, we already see branches and trees on the road. Then the actual tornado starts forming and crossing the highway in front of us.
Wow.
I'm driving. I stopped the car. Huggy starts yelling, "Man, you can't just stop the car on the highway!" I said, "I can't drive through that."
Right.
This
Right.
this fool said, "Punch it."
Are you serious?
Because we were in a rental car, but a big truck actually went through it. So he looked at that
my
truck and told
gosh.
me, "Punch it." So I floored it and drove through the tornado.
You drove through the freaking tornado,
like
Chris.
an idiot.
Wow.
And then for the next hour and a half, all we saw was the carnage and wreckage on the highway. I mean, whole trees on the highway. It was a mess.
He
Oh
drove
my
through a
goodness.
tornado.
Well,
What was that
we're
like?
blessed. I don't know.
Wow.
I just know
Wow.
the first exit with a Walmart, I stopped and bought new underwear.
Okay, I know that's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Man.
let's say a silent prayer for you there, brother. Go driving through a tornado and surviving a day party as well. So good on you. Let's move to the what you need to know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. If you give us your name and your email address, we'll have it in the mailbox for you every Monday through Friday morning, and we super serve the African American community with our various types of conversations and stories.
Even on the holiday, I woke up this morning and damn right, Sybil's newsletter is in my inbox.
That's right. That's right. There's
Right
no
on.
work. There's no holiday as we learned with Tom Joyner, it's a day on, not a day off.
Right.
And then of course Yolanda Starks White is also the same slave driver. And I don't mean to use
Does
that.
does Yolanda know that you're free? Does she acknowledge Juneteenth?
No, we ain't free. And she's from Texas too. So don't believe what those people tell you.
Man.
No, there's no such free day in and around Yolanda Starks White. All right, Coy, let's go with you and let's talk about on the holiday. Let's talk about more federal hate charges in a case this time in Florida.
Oh, here we go. Every time it says Florida man, it's going to be something crazy. So
Right.
a 55-year-old white man named Roy Lashley and a 52-year-old white man named Robert Lashley, who records have not indicated how these two are related. Same last name. But they've been indicted.
Maybe they're partners.
Could be. They were indicted by a grand jury on federal hate crime charges for a November attack of a black man in a parking lot at a Family Dollar store, which was north of Tampa, Florida. And they had already been charged in the state with assault and battery. And what happened was the person was walking away from the store, and he hasn't been identified. They just identify him by his initials, DB. Black man was walking away from the store when someone began yelling racial slurs. And this is when Robert Lashley ran towards the black man and began hitting him in the face. And then Roy Lashley struck the black man several times with an axe handle while he was on the ground. Craziness. So when police arrived, Roy Lashley began fighting the authorities. So now he also faces charges for resisting arrest. Now they've been indicted on federal hate crime charges because the two aided and abetted one another, willfully caused bodily injury to the victim, a black man, because of his actual and perceived race. So this federal hate crime can carry a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison, as well as a maximum fine of $250,000.
Yeah, that's what the cops in Minnesota are finding too, right? Is there these federal hate charges, and this is no joke. I'm wondering if they are getting the message, Coy, and I didn't get that from your story. But Chris, what do you think?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking about the victim right now, and on all these victims, what is the lasting psychological damage to someone who is the victim of a hate crime?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
how do you carry on knowing that you were attacked simply for existing? I mean, are you ever comfortable in any kind of outdoor situation ever again? You don't know who's. I mean, you might have a phobia of white folks.
And I think that's, environmental racism is more than just what's in the air. It's also those who are in your environment, I believe, and that can go a long way. If you can't go anywhere, because wherever you go, you may see these two hated white men, or these men who hated you at every turn. That's the kind of therapy you're going to need for the rest of your life.
I mean, because it's more than a hate crime. You also, I mean, they should be attaching any kind of terrorist charges they could, because terrorism is when you make people afraid.
Yeah, domestic terrorism is real.
You're afraid to actually be around another race because you were attacked for no reason but your color.
It's very funny because when I was reading Coy's story, I was sitting in a parking lot and I had a Black Voters Matter t-shirt on. And I'm very cognizant of the fact in Texas is I wear this. But it's very interesting the response you get from people, Coy, and some Black folks will come up and ask if they can help you right away, and other white folks move way out of your way to get away from you or give you a glaring look.
I've actually had some white people compliment my Black Voters Matters
I've had that
t-shirts.
too. Yeah,
And
but
I'm like, wow. And
recently,
I was in some country places too. Like, whoa, what a surprise. But then you also have places where, you step out, you're in a gas station while you're traveling, and white people kind of look at you like, do you know where you are?
yeah, yeah, exactly right.
It can be scary.
A couple months ago, my wife, who's Latina, she was at some kind of outdoor event in Virginia, and then when she came home, she was like, at one point, she realized she wasn't even thinking. She wore one of her classic Obama T-shirts, and could feel it.
Yeah,
she could feel that she was in this environment with all white folks with this Obama shirt on.
right.
The eyes were on her.
Yep, exactly. And there's a steady gaze, and you can feel the heat. I promise you.
It's just the fact that these people still feel comfortable enough to commit these types of crimes and incidents. And what is it going to take for them to take that level of comfortability away, and that safety net and that safety blanket, so they stop doing this?
Well, let's start with our Capitol building and what happened there. That's just one place where the safety blanket existed and continues to exist for we don't know how many untold numbers of people who will not be pulled into and charged with any crimes from January 6th. And I am trying to change the subject to get to the story about the January 6th committee. But Coy, the real is people feel more emboldened now than ever before.
Right. Because nothing's happening to them.
Not unless you have cases like this.
Not only is nothing happening, it's taking so long for anything to happen. Like,
yeah.
Okay, it's one thing the guy who wore the horns on his head. That's one thing. We're talking about the major players.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got to get the major players.
This is the January 6th committee that talking about they are investigating the insurrection of January 6, 2021. And the hearings have been, some of the hearings have been held. The hearings continue till they get to, I think it's close to a group of 9 that they are looking at in terms of the number of hearings they plan to hold. The first one was, of course, primetime. And the next 2 have been, as of this week, have been during the day. So we'll see what happens there. But
those primetime ratings were huge, though, right?
20 million people, if not more, Chris.
Right. How about that?
But they're still seeing they're seeing, of course, a fall off because people can't watch this at work or whatever. But they're still seeing some healthy numbers for the day because what's coming out is so very interesting. Not the least of which is that, as we reported in one of the past hearings, not only was Mike Pence's life in danger, not only was he berated at return by his former boss, Donald Trump, but one Proud Boy said that if they could have, they would have taken Mike Pence out on that day, taken him out.
Imagine the ratings for on the final day of the hearing. They do it prime time, and they say at the end, we're going to announce the indictments.
Right. Yeah.
It would be like watching American Idol,
right,
in its heyday.
Exactly. Way back in the day. You're right. and one of the other events that's scheduled to happen. Well, now they're putting it on the schedule. Is that the committee chairman, Benny Thompson, the great congressman from Mississippi, says that they've sent a letter to Mrs. Virginia Thomas, who would be Clarence Thomas's wife, to appear before the committee. Whether that means they have to send her an official document or she'll just go with this invitation and they'll try to work it out. It's going to be interesting. But the role that she played in this, Chris and Coy, as well as looking into what her husband knew and when he knew it.
Oh, she gets a final rose. She gets a final rose.
Absolutely gets that. But I know that you guys have busy days and what have you, but I'm just wondering if any of you all have had a chance to see any of Beyond the Prime Time. Or Coy, I think I asked you before, does it interest you?
Not right now. I'll get interested when everybody involved is brought to the stand, questioned, and charged. The longer that people just get away with what their role was within the January 6th insurrection, terrorist attack, then I don't want to hear it, to be honest.
Right. Well, I can't say that I think back to a long time ago, and my mom would talk about coming home every day and watching the Watergate hearings, and what that meant. So I don't think that this is something that's in my. I know that this is something that's in my blood, and I don't think I can turn away from it now. Because, like I said, there are so many interesting. I mean, from one moment to the next, this man who is described as, one of the most conservative and one of the most respected lawyers in the business, and watching him and really, honestly, trying to really stay awake to hear, because you were waiting for these pearls of wisdom, which he did in part, but it really took him a minute to get warmed up in this morning hearing. And so, but like with all of this, it's not all great television, and especially with the live testimonies, but it's compelling. It really is. It's really well done.
Coy sees it. Coy sees it like when black folks hear that a cop has been charged with something. They're like, okay, let me know when they get convicted.
Right. Exactly.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, he says. Another organization is looking at unionization. How about this? A Apple store in Towson, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore. These Apple store employees voted to unionize over the weekend. A union announcing the growing push across U.S. retail, service, and tech industries to organize for greater workplace protections, like better hours, money, conditions, that kind of thing. We talked about Amazon and their efforts, some of the efforts there, but this appears to be an even smaller group of people at this Towson, Maryland retail store. They voted 65 to 33 to seek the entry into this particular union.
I'm surprised.
I am too.
I'm surprised they unionized. Everything in there is about I.
There's still I in union, so. But I am too, Chris, and I wonder what this is going to look like. Apple has not had any comments, but for years we talk about where their products are made and how they manage to lowball in terms of their prices, in terms of their costs rather, but really up the number. I wonder what it would be if they were held to union standards as far as paying their employees.
Right. The folks overseas making these products are the ones who need to unionize.
Right.
Man, what?
Same with Nike.
Yeah.
People making those Jordans
right
about $1 a day.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
And I thank them for it.
Coy, we always talk COVID talk with you, and really appreciate your stance on this. As we get more into it, I can't say that I agree with you, but I do appreciate your stance and saying that you do what you have to do. But what about for the babies? The vaccines are now available for our little ones from 6 months, and I heard audio of the babies getting their shots already, and not happy days, but their moms and dads seem to be very relieved, especially those with immunocompromised conditions. Any thoughts on the little ones?
I definitely believe in. I believe that they should have been the group that we should have been more concerned about first. In addition to elderly people and people with immunocompromised conditions, diseases, what have you, definitely the children, because, I mean, even outside of COVID, that's like some of the sickest group of people that we
have. Well, certainly people who have their children in daycare and things like that,
yes.
or even the early years of school, the parents are going to be sick an awful lot.
Yeah. You ever had a child sneeze in your face? You're going to be sick for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
If that, yeah.
You got people acting like it's cruel to give these babies those shots. Y'all didn't have that same energy when I was getting circumcised as an infant. And just like the COVID shot, it was a little prick.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you. you.
I'll be here all week. I know. So Coy, you would have gone with the elderly and the babies first, and then kind of worked out from there.
Yeah, from there. And I mean, still, it's up to, parents' decision whether or not they want to get their kids vaccinated. I understand that. I get it. At the same time, I just feel like there should have been a lot more importance a lot earlier on children.
But I got to object because that would have essentially made the babies guinea pigs. I mean, it took a lot. At first, they gave them to the seniors and at risk because they were like an immediate danger. Then they let adults have it. We still didn't know what was going to, and even I'm sure you had your reservations about the side effects and everything. Imagine if we started with the babies,
Right.
And they started turning green and ears started falling. It would have been insane out here.
That would have been awful. All right, let's move to something a little bit lighter. Ask our question of the day: what's really going on? So, with our question of the day, asking you, what is the largest amount you spent on something you really could not afford, or what's something you would buy no matter the cost? And to really ask you this because this is as a result of the event organized by the Texas-based organization called Heritage Auctions. It's thought to be the first of its kind, and it saw 260 sealed VHS tapes up for auction. Most of these are on sale were first edition copies of films from the 70s and 80s. The Back to the Future tape that was sold at auction generated a record-setting $75,000.
I could dig it.
They said that it also contained a note personally signed by the actor Thomas F. Wilson. He played Biff in the Back to the Future trilogy. He was the previous owner of the copy. He said this is a VHS copy of the first release of Back to the Future, sent to me by the studio at the time. Since I knew the VHS platform would be around forever, I saved it for later. Now I can't find a VCR. Oh, well, enjoy. So, and somebody's planning to, whatever fashion enjoy means. But $75,000 for this. Chris, is that a ridiculous amount, or would you pay more for something that you thought maybe sports related for you?
I mean, if I was into it, I would pay for it. I mean, I'm a collector of many things, and it's just a lot of money. There's a lot of money and nostalgia right now. I mean, believe it or not, one of the things you have around your house. Matter of fact, all you parents, listen up. The ones who have grown kids that moved out. Those old Nintendo game cartridges you have are worth a fortune. Now, the ones that are worth the most are the ones that are unopened. I don't know who bought a Super Mario in 1982 and never opened it.
But there's somebody out there.
If you have old Nintendo games that have never been opened, I'm talking about thousands. Even the ones that have been opened are worth $500, $600, $700. So you need to find that stuff in the garage. Your kids will never know about it. You tell them after you sold it.
Coy, as you're moving and changing your home and your apartment and all of this life, are you coming across anything like Chris suggests that you might be able to make some money off of, or big money?
Yeah, I've come across, I forgot my Super Nintendo. I had that and a couple of games. And definitely some records that my dad has, some of them unopened. And I mean, I've known about these for several years. He's shown me his entire collection. So I made sure to secure those first. Those were some of the first things I secured. And it's just now a decision of, do I want to keep it or sell it? But I think I'm going to keep it.
You might come up with a college education need in which you might want to sell it. Shirley Ann Tony Davis said, I spent $250 on Remy Martin XO in college to celebrate my 21st birthday. Bless your heart.
That's a lot. That's a lot for liquor in college.
Yeah, man. Your 21st birthday.
Supposed to be drinking Four Loko from the gas station at 21.
She said, I'm coming out the gate big.
Okay. Happy 21st birthday to me. All right, Shirley.
And how do your 8 kids?
Let's find out from Chris Paul. Talk about some of the things that you collect.
Oh, wow. Well, no, I don't collect as much. I seem to have collected. I've got a lot of stuff around here. I have collected. I mean, a bunch of sports trading cards, autographed basketballs, comic books. I mean, hell, I sold one of my LeBron James rookie cards for $12,000.
Wow. How long ago was that, Chris?
Like 3 years ago, and I bought it. I bought it maybe LeBron James's second year, and I paid like $100 for it on eBay. And at the time, that was like, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and you made a heck of
you don't know if this kid is going to be the king, as they said.
Right.
But they sure turned out to be.
Yeah, a wise investment there.
Yeah. So I mean, I've sold a bunch of stuff before, and I buy a lot of stuff off eBay. So it's great. I mean, it's fun, but I don't buy as much as I used to. I sell more than I buy.
And that's
you wait. I mean, you just go on eBay and look at the stuff that you own and see what it's going for these days. And if it looks nice, you say, "Wow, I got to get rid of this now."
Right. It's a lot like what people are doing with their used cars these days. Like I can get more for this now than ever before.
I mean, some stuff I bought, it backfired on me and it was worthless.
Like what?
Like what? My Herman Cain for president shirt. Didn't quite work out for me or Herman Cain.
Coy, beyond the Nintendo, you got anything tucked away at either of your parents' homes? Or that you put into storage even when you went away to college, that kind of thing?
I used to be really into the Powerpuff Girls cartoon.
Okay.
So I would get anything Powerpuff Girls, anything. I don't know if any of that stuff is worth any money, to be honest. I have no clue. But I was so into it.
But like the Nintendo, you don't have a value on that either, the Nintendo games and what have you. Would you consider going and having somebody take a look at it?
Yeah, I would, because those are things that I'd be willing to part with, to be honest. But just not my dad's records, no.
Got it.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted. My dog is walking in a circle in the carpet next to me.
Uh-oh.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
Sorry, puppy.
You know what that circle means.
He's ready to lay it down, as it were.
We hope sleep.
Z Walker on Facebook says 999. Remember Herman Cain. Rest in peace, Herman. 999. Nikki J says, I got Michael Jordan Space Jam figures, Ninja Turtles, Batman that I'm keeping for my grandkids whenever I have them or somebody has them for you.
Man, the hell with your grandkids. You better get on eBay. Your grandkids want money.
That's right. And that's a good idea. Just to, like you said, Chris, you don't know the value till you get on something like that. Regina Glover on Facebook said, I've always wondered what the buyers do with the item when they paid a lot of money for an auction item. So it's like $75,000 for this VCR tape. What kind of armored guard or what kind of facility are they putting this in, Chris?
I mean,
bedroom.
They're actually, these people who buy they're investors. I mean, I saw something recently that investing in comic books and sports cards have paid more profit than the stock market over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So somebody who was willing to buy that VH tape for that will most likely just sit on it and wait as the value goes up. Then they'll flip it.
Absolutely.
Until somebody in their house that doesn't know opens that Billy.
And said, wonder what this, and then they pull the tape out.
Well, somebody's toddler pulls the tape out.
I used to want to do that with Barbies. I used to be into the Barbie magazine when I was a kid. And they had a section in there that showed people with their massive Barbie collections. I mean, Barbies filling entire rooms. And I begged my parents, like, please, maybe because it was a trend, but I was like, please, can we buy all these Barbies? They're like, I'm not spending money on I ain't spending no money on no damn Barbie. That's what my parents said. So
Barbies are worth a lot of money. A lot of Barbie dolls
are worth a lot of money.
The ones that are unopened and everything. But again, it's like the stock market. At one point, some of the highest priced collectibles you could get are Beanie Babies. They were so much money, but then the market crashed.
Exactly.
And all these people who had 1,000 Beanie Babies are now sitting around with just some little worthless stuffed balls. I mean,
can't tell you how many times
they should have got out.
Sorry,
Beanie Babies are the original crypto.
Remember that the Cabbage Patch Dolls, the Beanie Babies. Selena Armstrong on Facebook said, I have the entire Fat Albert and the gang of figures.
Yeah, that might be worth something, though, seriously.
I had an actual Fat Albert doll. It was 16 inches tall in the box my wife bought it for me like the second year we were together. She bought it for me from some antique shop. It was worth a fortune, and it had you pulled the string and it talked. I mean, it was huge. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Then damn Bill Cosby. When I tell you the value of it hit rock bottom.
Damn.
Wow.
I ended up selling it for like $40-something. At its peak, though, it was on eBay. They were selling them without the box for $800, $900.
Chris.
And Bill Cosby screwed me, man.
I don't know how many men could say that, Chris, but you stand there.
I'm the one.
He
didn't even buy me a drink.
Charlotte Bowen Bellamy on Facebook said, I have 2 walking dolls in their original clothes in the original
I was just
box
thinking about
the
those.
1960s. The talking and walking dolls.
The dolls, like you kind of hold their hands and you walk with them in the legs.
Oh, sure.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
They're kind of scary.
They are kind of scary. Yeah. I don't know that I know the doll now that you mention it in the because the legs moved along with you. Yeah.
G.I. Joes are worth a lot too.
Oh.
The black one in pristine condition is worth a lot because they had like kind of fake afro on his head. So it's hard to find him brand new without a bunch of lint and crap in his throat. Look at that. I collected all the G.I. Joe action. If you still have them.
Aubrey Williams says, why are we not surprised about that with you, Aubrey, on YouTube? You collect all the G.I. Joe action figures. That's pretty cool. I had a lot of black dolls, but not as a collection. My mother didn't want me to collect the Barbie dolls because she knew that I would leave the pieces out and, she'd end up getting a heel in the heel of her foot or something like that. But we didn't do a lot. I used to collect lions as a Leo, and you get to collect them when you went to trips and stuff like that. But there's no value to any of this crap. Thank you, Yolanda, for bringing this back. Renee Woodridge on Facebook said, I have an old black Singer sewing machine from my late mother-in-law. I bet that is a piece of work. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
And I bet you, like Chris says, if you go on eBay and you look up and see what the value of these things are, it could be, I'm telling you, Coy, I love my daddy's records too, but I'm telling if I found some that were, on the market quite valuable, I might rethink that. Trina Jackson on Facebook said, if you had the money, what would you buy or collect regardless of the cost? That's what I was, well, I wasn't asking in terms of what would you collect regardless of the cost, but just it's something that you just can't live without and that you would buy.
Oh, I would definitely buy the classic, the most classic comic books. I'm talking about Spider-Man 1, which I did have one point.
You had Spider-Man 1?
I had Spider-Man 1. And it's crazy.
Wow.
Somebody on Instagram, a comic book collector, was doing raffles. So for $25, I bought a chance and I won it. Now it was graded, so it was only graded out of 1 to 10. It was graded like a 1, so it was not in great condition. Mm-hmm. But I got rid of that years ago. But yeah, I would go back and get them all. Like the ones when I was a kid, I used to see in magazines, from Spider-Man 1, Fantastic Four 1 to the Avengers 1. I mean, it's a different level. If you want Batman and Superman 1, you're talking about several millions of dollars.
Right.
Several millions of dollars. I actually saw a video. This is so cool, and anybody else can do this. This guy, what he does for a living, he just goes to yard sales. Mm-hmm. And it's like people don't have any sense of value on the things we're talking about right now.
Right.
Nintendo games or the action figures. They'll put all their kids' old action figures in a bin and say $1 each.
Yep.
Every time.
Or even, and also he's like, people like coffee mugs. People have vintage coffee mugs. You just have to go to yard sales. He buys all $20 worth of stuff. And then he shows himself listing it, and he ends up making like $600 for his $20 haul.
I should do that too, because I used to collect the Starbucks coffees from different cities and countries, and so I wonder what that might bring me. Thank you, Chris, for that. But you're right; those yard sales are incredible, especially the moms that want to get rid of all those comic books been taking up all the room, and so now you're like, just take it, take it.
The seller's not thinking about profit; the seller's thinking about getting rid of clutter.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they just put it out there for you. Right.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you all.
One time I found Me and Huggy's comedy DVD for $1
That's
in the bin.
I refuse to believe that.
I said, this thing is overpriced.
I refuse to believe that. That is too funny. That is too funny. All right, let's move to our trending topics today. And let us talk. The first things first, speaking of Mr. Lowdown, we want to wish him a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, bruh.
That's right. Did y'all make some birthday toasts while you were in Charlotte?
Nah, we were just all business. Got down there on Friday. Right after the show, we headed home.
Oh wow!
Wow.
So I could be home. Yeah, it's Father's Day that day.
For Father's Day.
True.
And you didn't say, did you do anything special, or they feed you an extraordinary meal? Did you get a great gift for Father's Day?
My wife catered some food for me, and my son came and completely remodeled my deck for me. So it's a beautiful place for me to sit outside and chill right now. I had a great day.
That is so awesome.
And back to Charlotte real quick. I had the name on my phone. I've got to shout out Rocky Williams. Rocky Williams came to me after the show. Now, granted, it was unpleasant. I'm at the urinal at the time.
How you doing?
And he's talking to me. But he said that he watches us every single Monday on It's Sybil.
Oh,
and I said, well, I'm going to be on there on Monday, and I'm going to shout you out. So Rocky Williams from Charlotte. What up, bro?
Nice. Thank you, Rocky.
Hey, Rocky. Thank
you.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate that. That's nice.
And Rocky, next time, wash your hands, bro.
So Charlotte was good. Father's Day was good. And you guys are headed to Atlantic City.
Kelsey's, July 2nd. 2 shows with my man 2-Ray from Philly. Come get some good soul food and laugh with Huggy Lowdown, Chris Paul, and 2-Ray. We're going to have some fun.
That is going to be a great time and a great way to spend the holiday weekend.
That's right.
July 2nd.
A safe way to spend it.
Well, let's move on that point then. Speaking of safe things to do and good bets to make, tomorrow is voting day. It's election day, primary election day in DC, in Virginia, Chris Paul, and runoffs in states including Georgia and Alabama.
I don't see the push on social media like I did in the presidential. Like, and I know there's always a drop off, but do people understand how important all this stuff is?
I don't think they do. And as a matter of fact, Chris, I was in a text chain with somebody who said, when did Juneteenth become so important? And it's like, well, so we're trying to figure out all of these things, and we have our minds on, who just left the housewives, or what's the latest at, P Valley or whatever. But we kind of lose the focus, Coy, and the importance of getting people to the polls. You have, given it to us in a very unusual way, but it was an effective message. Get your booties to the polls. Chris, we're not talking about it. We're not.
And I hear more about, I know there's some disappointment in the Black community about what they feel Joe Biden has not done yet as president. Yeah. But do you remember the guy before? Do you understand that we've got to purge this government of all of those MAGA people and not let new ones in?
And new ones in the Senate and the House. That's how important it is. Every person in the United States House of Representatives is up for election, re-election, up for election, however you want to say it. Every single member of the United States House, 1/3 of the United States Senate up for election or re-election. And that's how very valuable those seats are, because as the Senate has demonstrated, a lot of the things you may be disappointed with Mr. Biden about is as a result, his not getting it passed as a result of the loggerheads, the jam that you have there in the United States Senate.
And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. These new MAGA candidates they're trying to get elected are meaner and dumber. I'm serious, because they're the ones who have watched on the sidelines as the original mean dummies got voted in, and they're like, all I got to do is be mean and stupid, and Herschel Walker can be elected. I'm not exaggerating.
No.
It used to be where people felt like they had to have some kind of actual credentials to run for an office in this country, some kind of record of public service. Not anymore. You just have to say outrageous, racist, mean things, and you will find your base.
And you'll find your people.
Pretty much. And a lot of people on social media, from what I'm seeing, with people within my age group and younger, are saying, well, what does this have to do with me? This doesn't directly affect me. Everything that the politicians are deciding and what they're talking about isn't going to help put food on my table. It isn't going to make my living circumstances better or anybody else that I know. So what's the point of me voting or participating? And I've gotten so exhausted with trying to explain or clarify or help people understand what's going on that, in a sense, I've kind of taken a break from that recently.
Okay, you take a break. How long you need? My mom used to ask me this all the time when I would need an attitude adjustment. How long you need?
I know, right? Oh goodness, it's been a couple of weeks now.
Okay,
It's
so
been a couple of weeks.
so you tell me how much more time you need, and then we're gonna get you back out there. And because Chris, here's the thing: when Coy says that her friends, her peers are saying, "How does this affect me? How does this affect my putting food on my table or gas?" Obviously it does affect it because you're looking at a president who is promising right now to look at removing the federal gas taxes, and which could provide up to what 20 cents a gallon, some sort of relief there. That makes a big difference.
But people are being manipulated. That's why everything that Coy's talking about, the things that people are concerned about most right now, like it's inflation or it's gas prices, the Republicans always vote against every single thing the Democrats try to do to as a solution because they want you frustrated with those things. As long as you're frustrated with how much it costs to buy chicken wings and how much it costs to buy gas, you're not thinking about going to vote.
And not we are not making the correlation, Chris. We're not making the connection. If you vote for this person, they are going to have a majority in the House or the Senate, and they're not going to allow the things that are important to you, like the George Floyd Policing Act, like the voter registration or the Voting Act's rights, and now the Gun Control, Gun Reform Act. That whether it gets passed or not, it's your guess is as good as anyone else's. In this framework that they have discovered, we've got to show if you vote for this person, they're going to work for something that is a part of what you need, it's a part of your life, it's a part of enhancing your life, not taking away and not giving to those who don't need that kind of help. And that would be the gazillionaires, who get tax breaks and things like that.
Everything they want the Democrats want to make life better for Americans, the Republicans block, but they still get in front of the cameras and blast Joe Biden because of this and that. But they vote against everything that would help, and they just want us frustrated. They want us angry.
Yeah. But are we angry enough, Coy? Do you think when we get you back out there, are we angry enough to understand that this is I'll say it till I get, so I'm that color blue right back there. This is one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime.
It is. And until people stop using social media as their primary source of information and stop paying to propaganda that is in media everywhere and start doing their own research, start paying attention to the debates that are going on, paying attention to the different speeches that are happening, just paying attention to, laws and things that are being voted on. Actually go and read this stuff for yourself. Do your own research. Then I think that's the only thing that's going to help people understand the magnitude of what's going on.
I hope that you're right, Coy. And take a look at our newsletter tomorrow, because it's some really interesting things that are in these different elections. Like Virginia, as I said in the newsletter, is really one of those examples of the ballot that you really go from top to bottom. You have the U.S. House races, and then you go down to the municipal offices that are up for election, and members of the school board. Do we have to tell you how important it is for you to know who is, if not you, then who is willing to be a voice of calm and real clarity in these school board decisions, such as the conversations you're having in the classroom and the books that are allowed in the libraries? That's important.
Highly. Because next thing you know, we're not going to have a true representation of American history, and everybody's going to be complaining and wondering, well, why don't they learn about this and why don't they learn about that? You had a chance to vote on it.
You had a chance. Every time your school board is up there, and you see, and you see that you have good school board superintendents, you have great teachers that are leaving because of decisions that are made by the school boards.
Right.
This is another story, another sad situation. This regarding the shooting situation in Texas. According to these new news reports, officers arrived at the Uvalde school, that's the Robb Elementary School, with rifles, ballistic shield, 9 minutes after the gunman. If this kid arrived at 11:35 in the morning, and these officials who were strapped, they had the equipment, they arrived 9 minutes later, and well over an hour later before he was taken out, and we don't know how many people died as a
Wow.
result of that.
Wow.
And Uvalde, as we say in our news stories, they're very compliant. They will come up with the information, but it's nothing you can use. Uvalde law enforcement people.
How do you add to the devastation and loss that these parents will feel for the rest of their lives?
Ever.
You add this anger to it,
Yeah,
knowing that there was a chance their kids could have been saved,
that's right.
except for the complete incompetence of a police force.
A police force. And a group of people who don't want to confront them, don't want to make it difficult to get some answers from them. But these are people who also need their votes as well as the NRA come November.
Right.
Let's talk a little happiness. This was we got enough. I got enough bad stories, I promise. But let's talk about the Warriors Championship Parade.
I thought you said good
Congratulations.
news.
Well, Chris, for those of us that haven't seen the championship in a number of years in our various cities, our respective cities, this was good, and I like Steph Curry. I'm really
Yeah,
glad for him.
yeah. The DeBarge brothers are back. The Splash Brothers.
The Barge brothers, and Draymond Green never fails to entertain with the mouth of whoever you want to, the most salty of language that comes out,
Yeah,
live television or not. He doesn't give a flip.
he's an original. I'm happy for them. I mean, 2 years ago they had the worst record in all of baseball. I mean, all of basketball. They were the worst team in all of basketball. 2 years later, they're champions. That's amazing.
And so this is number 4 for them.
Yeah,
I want to
4.
say, yeah, good for them. I'm not hating, and I'm congratulating.
I
And
was just
thank them.
mad because Game 7 would have been Father's Day. I had
You know what?
my night planned.
That would have been perfect. That would have
Yes.
just been too much like perfect, because I know you weren't watching the
Hey,
U.S. Open.
I don't care if they win the championship. Just win it on Sunday.
Okay.
Damn Boston Celtics, man.
And then I had to go and socialize with my family.
Right. Right. It's not the same with the family sitting around watching First 48.
Move
Out the way. Some good Samaritans in New York City. Apparently, a cab lost control, and it ran into some people who were outside, may have been in an outdoor eating situation. And the people, 2 women, became caught underneath the car. Good Samaritans lifted this cab. They say maybe it been a group of about 10 to 20 people who lifted this cab up and out and off of these women before help could even arrive.
An interesting fact, that cab at the time, the driver was taking his cab license test and he passed.
Gee, doesn't that make you just want to rush?
And he passed.
That is so
Flying
funny.
colors.
That's hilarious. Well, we want to thank those people, because you really kind of think, when you're faced with a situation like that, what would I do?
I don't know if it's lift up a cab.
right.
I can't
We're gonna have to
imagine.
try.
Well, I would you be willing to make that try, Coy?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would. If
Yeah.
that meant saving their life, definitely.
Absolutely. I think so. All right. that is what we are talking about. Those are the topical things that we're talking about. Let us move on to entertainment, shall we?
Let's.
It's entertainment time. Um, your friend Dave Chappelle, Chris Paul, is going to be honored at the school where he was once heckled as a kid.
How about that?
His alma mater is paying tribute to him, Coy, by renaming a building in his honor. Just
Oh, cool.
months, and this isn't like not as a kid, but just a few months ago, after he got heckled on campus during the transgender controversy, in which he was caught in the middle. The Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington D.C., world famous, is set to rename its performance theater after its most noted alum. The school said honoring Dave because of his ongoing commitment and service to the school. He paid a visit to the old school back in November while he was taking heat for his jokes about the transgender community, all of that with Netflix and what have you. Things got heated. He invited students who disagreed to speak during the assembly. One student stepped up and called him a bigot, adding, "I'm 16 and I think you're childish." Some students wanted the school to reverse its decision on naming the building after him, but they said no, we're going with our man Dave.
We're going with the man who's paying for this.
Yeah, that was understood there, Chris. I think so.
But Dave has always been a part of that whole community at that school. I mean,
right.
Since he graduated, he keeps going back, keeps giving where he can, keeps making himself available to the students there. So yeah, it's a total love relationship he has with Duke Ellington.
That's nice. That's good. Are your alma maters looking for you, Chris?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because I kept some textbooks. They want them back.
Coy, what if you were to be lauded by Jackson State? What's the building? And I think I know, but what's the facility that you would love to have named the Coy Malone Building?
Oh, probably the music hall.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a music hall. It's got to be something music related. Or the cafeteria, because I spent a lot of time.
Oh, you spent. Oh, okay. Good food.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it got me through.
Okay. Okay. Has anybody heard Drake's new music?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think?
Clubby, like pop club.
Very, very.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Honestly
but not
Never
surprised.
Mind. Yeah. It's very, very Euro. It sounds very much to me.
I'm not surprised. And I feel like a lot of people are saying, well, you know, this isn't the Drake that we used to. And I said, you got to realize, not trying to say anything crazy here, but Drake is black and white. Okay. Y'all, the black people are getting all selfish over. We want to hear the club and the trap stuff and stuff like that. But you got to realize he's white too. So let him make the music that goes along with that side. Stop being selfish. He's going to give you another album.
Plus, at some point, artists just want to do something different. Like, remember when Kanye put out 808 and Heartbeat? Was a Heartbeat? It was all auto-tune singing.
Yep.
For a whole album. I mean, it's not going to hurt Drake.
And the challenges, you know, they, like you said, they just want something different. They don't want to stay on that same track, and let's be open to the changes of the, you know, that's not why I came here. I didn't come here to hear that music. Well, somebody did, and you know, so you gotta be there for them. I just think it's really interesting. He's got this new music, and the videos are already out. And one of the stars of this latest video, in which Drake marries 23 women. Is Tristan Thompson, the basketball player. What's the child's name? Chloe's ex, or forever beau. I don't know where they are.
Chloe should calm down, because Tristan only slept with 8 of those women. But when artists try to do new things, it doesn't always sit well with their audience. Like, I remember years ago, my wife and I went to see Alicia Keys live in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And what she did, Sybil, for her show, the entire concert, all the songs were arranged big band style, like you were watching a Duke Ellington show or something. And you guys showed the hell out. That Chicago audience was unhappy. I mean, it got to be where you guys were talking the whole time, and nobody. Every single song arranged with horns, big band style.
Wow.
And I understand she wanted to do something creative and big.
Yeah. That was not the audience.
And this is who?
Alicia Keys. She
Oh
did
wow.
a concert, and her whole arrangement for the show. She didn't do any of her hits as composed. Everything was a big band, classic 40s arrangement, and you guys just lost it.
Wow.
Chicago lost it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks so much, you guys. I appreciate your joining us today. And as always, great conversation. I look forward to it every week with you, as well as you, Chris Paul, as well as you, Coy Malone. And also happy birthday to our boy, Huggy Lowdown. And
if you're with Huggy Lowdown right now, drive him home.
Or to Papa Doe, either one.
Okay, you know
drop him off.
You know him. We close out with our daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Don't allow another person's words or actions to disturb your peace. Don't allow another person's words or actions to disturb your peace. All right, go out there and be peaceful, my friends, and perhaps get some. I will see y'all soon. Take care.